may still be that same great kid you used to be. But it's not who you are underneath. It's what you do that defines you.
You guys hear me now? You probably can. I've been talking the whole time. I've been talking the entire time. So I don't know if you guys have been able to hear me, but I've been talking the entire time. So what I was saying earlier here is this is bad, okay? Because I don't know if you guys, the last thing you guys heard me, what you heard me say before, but what I was saying before here is this. When we were looking at fundamentals here, okay, right now, obviously just today's news on Trade DNA, we could take a look at what was happening and what's going on. First off, the stock market investors got bad news from the Federal Reserve. History says that this is from Bloomberg Terminal, right? That basically the Federal Reserve is looking to reverse expectations and they're signaling at least one rate hike coming in 2026. So what does that mean? It usually means that we're pivoting, okay? And that's why Trade DNA is calling SPX to be bearish, okay? And gold being bullish still because of the inflation uncertainty. So right now, what we're looking at here specifically, if we go into rates, we go into the heat map right here, we can see it 52% September 16th. What that means is that there is a very high likelihood we're going to hike rates on September 16th. If that happens, okay, markets right now, probably leading up till September 16th, would be bearish. Okay, it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news. After September 16th, then you should see a rally when we officially hike rates. Okay, that's probably what's going to end up happening. Now, today's news, which is why, markets reacted the way it did, we were looking at it earlier, was the biggest thing was the Fed Chair Warsh spoke. Okay, that was today. But also you had what else was today? Right here, ISM manufacturing PMI worse than expected. That's actually good for markets. Let's look at what Warsh said, because we do want to take a look at what Warsh said, especially to the markets here, because I'm very curious to see what they said. To harness a better economic data within a year. Okay. Let's look at what he said actually. So if we go on X, let's look at what he actually said. What did Warsh actually say?
And farther away from our target. So why are we not raising interest rates?
I was hoping you were asking me about forward guidance.
We'll get there. Because you have so much to say there.
Okay, so this is on Bloomberg. This is perfect.
The labor side of your mandate.
So when we met 2 weeks ago, I think the way we as a committee described the labor side of the mandate is we said labor markets are steady. We said the demand side of the economy was solid. And we said the supply side of the economy, especially CapEx and productivity, again, this is before we see the fruits of AI, we said that was strong. I don't want to sound like a Wall Street newsletter and update that with recent events because we follow trends. And, I'll reinforce something that President Lagarde just said. We're all in the price stability business. That might not be our only business, but if there was a common thing I heard over the last couple of days, it was open-mindedness on these questions of AI, open-mindedness on productivity. But we've all looked around and we've seen that prices are too high. And I don't think I'm the only one on this stage that's recommitted to deliver price stability.
So the market was right to interpret your first news conference as hawkish.
Nice try.
Yeah, I'm not. I've just gotten advice from my senior statesman on this group not to do that. But I'll say this: expectations of inflation over the first 4 weeks of this period, they've come down. Inflation risks have come down. Again, in our business, we don't want to overdetermine things. But if there were people in household or the business sector and the financial markets who thought that this central bank was going to be comfortable with an inflation objective above 2%, well, I guess they'd be disappointed. We're going to deliver price stability in the U.S. That's what this committee has signed up to do. And our objective is to do that. The tactics, the strategy, and the rest.
Yeah, he's just saying a bunch of nothing. Here we go. This is what I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm not, I'll say this.
There we go.
So the market was right to interpret your first news conference as hawkish.
Nice try.
Yeah, I'll say this. Inflation risks have come down. But if there were people in household or the business sector and the financial markets who thought that this central bank was going to be comfortable with an inflation objective above 2%, well, I guess they'd be disappointed. We're going to deliver price stability in the US. That's what this committee has signed up to do. And our objective is to do that. The tactics, the strategy, and the rest, that's still to come.
No matter what the...
So he's going to hike rates. Mother of God. Let's see what is going on. No matter what the president wants, he's doing a lot of heavy lifting. Well, the problem is that Trump appointed him. This is so funny, adding 1 trillion after Fed said inflation risk may be cooling. Market reaction. What is this guy talking about? I love analysts on that be trading on Twitter and just saying or doing a bunch of nothing.
Higher than Europe's and farther away from our target. So why are we not raising interest rates?
I was hoping you were asking me about forward guidance.
We'll get there.
You want to know how I know rates are going to hike, guys? Look at what other countries are doing. Look at what other company, what their projections are, what their rate path is. Japan's is to hike. Right now, we're at all-time low. Well, right now, we plan on hiking. Or RBA, the Bank of Australia. Bank of England plans on hiking. Europe plans on hiking. That's how we know we're hiking rates. You want to know why? The US always hikes last. Usually. Europe will hike first. Canada will hike first. Australia and even Japan will hike first before the US. Then the US will face usually a crisis and it will hike last. The US also cuts first. Okay? It allows other countries, because we're the world reserve currency, we feel it last, so we make adjustments last. The other countries have to adjust first since they feel the pain more than we do. They feel more inflation than we do. They feel more job cuts or job hikes or rate. They feel it all. Like jobs coming in, economic growth or economic downturn, other countries feel it sometimes 2 times worse. Because of why? We're the dollar. We're the dollar index, right? We have control of everything. So if we're on a path to hiking, I'm going to believe the path. And we're saying stuff like this about markets being too high, him saying a bunch of nothing, saying we're going to do whatever it takes. We don't know the strategy yet. What fucking strategy do you have, Porsche? You have no fucking strategy. There's only one thing you can do. There's to hike rates and then just hope and pray that AI can take us will take us at a hedge. The growth of AI and then hiking rates will slowly slow down any type of economic downturn. So yeah, we're hiking rates, guys. So what does that mean? Simple. Dixie's still going to go up, okay? On a long-term perspective, I still do believe that's going to happen in July. Okay, I do believe that. I believe SPX in July is bearish. Historically, SPX is bullish in July. So I'm a little worried because what might happen is inflation might go out of the way if Warsh doesn't incorporate or say anything. But from structure alone, currently right now we're still bearish, right? External selling zone. And here we just hit that external buying zone. Right? So what we need next is to see breaks of structure, internal structure, primarily in here. Okay, we need to see this break. If not, you're going to get this as a pullback and get this as what? A internal buy. Now we can compress this here into a sell. You can compress it even more. Okay. So I do believe prices for SPX can still be bullish until we have a break or a BOS here. I'm not looking for any sells. Okay, before we have a break here, I'm not looking for any sells. So I want to get a close here first on the 4 hour. Once we get that, I'll be very confident in selling the hell out of SPX, but this is just a fake rally. This might be a relief rally. Okay, so that's just kind of what I'm waiting for. So I'm still, again, I'm leaning a little bit more towards buys, but the moment we break price or structure on the 4 hour, I will sell this until probably 7,100. It could be a big crash if that ends up happening. So I'm very curious to see what happens here. Same thing, same structure with US 30. NAS is finally actually getting into an indecisional area that we talked about, right? NAS mitigated even like yesterday, that zone we talked about, that fell downward, right? So very curious here. I believe NAS will break through and come back down here by tomorrow. A lot of my points always usually hit. Takes a while, but they usually will hit. Let's look at yields. Wow. Bond prices are falling. Where's that money going? This is good. Look at oil going downward still. Remember what I said about gold, guys. Right? Remember what I said about gold. See that, guys? See that? Swipe of liquidity. Boom. So what am I looking for next? This is exactly what I was looking for. Break a structure. This is what I wanted, right? This is what I told everybody about. And guess what? And let's look at the daily. Close below the daily? No. Not yet. This looks like a mitigation 2-day. Let's look at the weekly, most important chart. It looks like we're about to close above for the weekly. The market's closed next week for NFP. Thursday. Tomorrow morning, very important to be trading NFP, figuring out where price is going, why price is going there, etc. Okay. So definitely take a look tomorrow, guys. Okay. Because tomorrow we'll get probably that swipe here. Even a swipe to the low. It could even end up like a wick off and then a run and rally. Okay. Rick said, if I'm confirming prices to be bearish. I never said that we're selling. I said that depending on news and how we close on this 4-hour area would depend if whether I'm buying or I'm selling. But this is more of a buy, Rick. Structure at the end of the day. You always want to look at structure. Doesn't matter. Yes, news does matter for sure, but also you want to make sure structure aligns with news. Ungodly important that structure relies on. Yeah, we're looking for a big buy tomorrow. You got to pull back here with USD CAD in the money zone in profit here. I haven't been looking at anything else. Bitcoin actually came up to the zone I called on Tuesday, right? And swiped liquidity and gave you guys a re-entry. I hope you guys got in the re-entry here. With BTC. Order block, mitigation, swipe liquidity, lower liquidity right now. Probably gonna experience more. Yeah, guys, that's kind of what I'm looking at here on a seasonality perspective. Let's take a look at what we're looking at with seasonality here before I call it. Oh my God, this might be the buy of the fucking century. Gold might be the buy of the century here after NFP. Might be the buy of the century. Get ready, guys. Gold might be the buy of the century. Let me triple confirm here with you guys. Oh my God. Bitcoin right now is, yeah, gonna keep going lower. Who's selling? BlackRock is selling Bitcoin. Usually when BlackRock sells Bitcoin, there's only one thing that they're buying, right? Guess who's buying gold? Oh, wow. BlackRock's selling everything. Usually BlackRock buys Bitcoin and buys gold and then sells Bitcoin. BlackRock's been selling gold too. Those rate heights are what they say they are going to be. We would see a rate construction tomorrow or a rejection here. So, I mean, right now, at least on average inflow and outflow data, we're at the lowest we've been ever in the last 2 years. Actually, even in the last 5 years. Actually, in gold's history. That's good for us. You know why? Look at what happened to gold March 7th, 2021. What happened at those lows May 25th. What happened at those lows and inflows November 19th, 2025. Parabolic runs. We might see one of gold's biggest run ever in history. Once we go back to outflow data, even at breaking even or 5 billion. Yeah, we're gonna see gold's biggest run in history. So get ready, guys. You guys are about to be part of history. You're about to make a lot of fucking money, dude. We're about to make a lot of fucking money. I'm like excited. Last time I made like 40K, 50K in a month when we had a huge gold rally. Yeah, and I plan on trying to make 100K. So let's crush it, guys. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all. And I will talk to y'all soon. Have a good one, guys. Peace.